Good morning. In today's webinar, we'll be talking about the online exams challenges and how they can be solved. I'll be your presenter, and my name is Christine. What I have shared on my screen now is just a short quote from Michelle Obama, and it says, "If my future were determined just by my performance on standardized tests, I wouldn't be here. I guarantee you that." I'll now dive in right to the online exams challenges and how they can be solved. So, objective of online exams is basically to ensure that assessment setters can go with the paradigm shift from offline to online. By offline, I mean the conventional written papers, whereby everyone sits in the same room, papers are handed out to the students, and then at the end of the time frame that has been given to do the exam, they're handed back to the lecturer for marking and grading. So the, this is usually done mostly in educational institutions, in hiring and learning and development, that is in skill set institutions and organizations. The online exam process is usually hard to manage due to the involvement of critical steps that need to be taken to ensure that it is successful. And considering that this is a fairly new system in the whole world and people are just coming to learn about it, problems may arise. So today we'll look at how these problems can be solved and first begin with the problems themselves, because we cannot solve an issue that we do not know the exact problem that arose. The major problems that we at mElimu have noted are internet connectivity, integration, communication with exam candidates, security, impersonation, cheating, and fraud, and hardware. So these are just the basics. I'll dive right into each and expound further on each and how they can be solved. So internet connectivity. Internet connectivity is a huge problem, not only in rural and remote areas, but sometimes even in urban centers. In the case of a concurrent number of exams, internet connectivity can be a huge challenge because either the system may be overloaded or the bandwidth is not enough to support people. And if the service provider, for example, had a glitch somewhere in the supply of connectivity, therefore students may not be able to do the exams smoothly. In regards to internet connectivity as well, there are certain requirements of the speed that will be required for a student to be able to successfully take the exam. So if the student is in an area with a limited speed or bandwidth, they may not be able to successfully do the exam. So as I said, internet connectivity may vary not only in the rural but also in the urban areas. So this needs to be looked into before the start of the exam so that the students can be well prepared. The second point is integration. Every institution has their own standards of allocating and analyzing grades, and some even have their own learning management systems. Therefore, for it to have a smooth running of the examination, the systems therefore exist in the institutions need to have been linked together and integrated so that there can be a smooth flowing of the exams. A lot of challenges will have to be made to either the system that the institution is using or the organizational structure of the institution so that the integration of the exam system and the LMS flow well and the students do not have a challenge during the exam. The third challenge is communication with the exam candidate. By this I mean the people who are sitting for the online exams and their supervisors or lecturers. So every institution has their own standards of allocating, of conducting across multiple locations. Therefore, it is usually essential that communication with the remote candidates is conducted seamlessly to clarify any doubts or queries regarding any processes. By this, I mean that there should be a way in case a student or the candidate has a query or question or concern, that they can relate to the lecturer so that they can give feedback. This will ensure that the smoothest execution of the exam is actually a success. At the end of the exam, that it is a success. Some of the online exam platforms are integrated with SMS or email functionality to enable the communication during the exam between the examiner and the teacher, because someone may note an issue with the exam, and therefore they need to relay it before the end of the exam so that it can be rectified, so the exam can be a success. So this is usually an issue, but it has, with online exam challenges, we at mElimu, we have integrated some of these platforms so that the student can be able to communicate with the lecturer. The fourth point is the security, impersonation, cheating, and fraud. And we all know that here and there, some students may not be very honest and would like to cheat. Therefore, online exam process security is a very critical challenge. Proper authentication or processes should be followed to ensure that the right candidate is appearing for the exam in a secure environment without any malpractices. By malpractices, I mean they are the one actually sitting for the exam. No one else is sitting for them. There is the option of, it's not even an option, it's a functionality of the lockdown browser, whereby the student sitting for the exam will not be able to open another browser and probably even Google the answers to the question we have. And there is also the option of the screen, the camera, actually notifying if this is the right person, because registration was done. Therefore, they have the facial recognition of the student who is supposed to sit for that exam. So all this is there. And this is a challenge that has been, people have wondered how they can bypass it. So with all this, the malpractices and all that will be able to be a thing of the past. Therefore, without an effective authentication system, it is possible to compromise the identity management capabilities of online testing software, of which I talked about earlier, whereby the software should be at a certain level, and it should be, if it's, for example, version 2, everyone should have the version 2 so that they can be able to do the exam without any issues. So an online examination software audits the entire assessment processes and keeps the identity leaks as well as security lapses at bay. The fifth challenge is hardware. In this regard, when we talk about hardware, the students may not be have availability of computers or hardware for them to use to take this online assessment. Therefore, this needs to be taken into consideration before an institution can go ahead and so that the students can be adequately prepared and have the right hardware that supports the online exam system. I'll proceed right on, but should anyone be having a question or query, you can type it in the chat box and we'll respond to them at the end of this session. I'll now dive into why institutions need online examination systems and why it is now the time to move from the conventional methods that have always been there while conducting exams. So one of the reasons we need our online exams is because it helps in the institutions and organization in the reduction of logistics, where the institutions and the organization will reduce the infrastructure costs and other costs that are related to exams, such as the printing of papers and renting out of space for the exams to be done. The second reason is that it supports all types of content creation, work with sounds, text, and videos. Therefore, all forms of learning experiences are covered. By this, I mean that the online exam may have different audios and even probably videos, which may not be the case as in conventional methods of examination. The third point is the standard grading system. By this, I mean the user system, because the lecturers have already put the answers. Therefore, students will not get different answers, will not be able to get marks with the wrong question that they have put. By this, I mean scenarios of one getting extra marks are non-existent because there is a standard grading system whereby the teachers have already set the way they need their answers to be put as it is the MCQ. The fourth point is the single monitoring from one system. By this terminal, students can be monitored easily. Institutions can get instant feedback on who is or who was available during the examination, because everyone is registered before the examination commences, in that you're using your login details, probably the student registration number. Therefore, the lecturers also have their own logins to monitor what is going on during the exams. Therefore, there's a direct single monitoring system that keeps track of every activity that happens. The next point is the high efficiency when doing online exams. As I have stated, login is authenticated. You cannot log in unless you have the credentials of someone, of which we had discussed earlier that there is the system, it has the facial recognition. Therefore, due to the efficiency, lecturers do not need a lot of time to create question banks as they are already in place. Anyone in the institution can assist with the creation of the exams because they're already saved in the question banks. And most times you'll find the lecturer has classified them in different portals, from easy exams to moderate and to hard. Therefore, there's that efficiency when the exams are being created. And the last point is check the existing exams and view results batch-wise. Once the exams are done, since they are in MCQs, the results will be automated, and therefore the lecturer and the institutions will be able to see all this at once. And as a student, you will be able to access and see your results at once instantly. Therefore, it reduces on the time taken for grading and as well as the reporting for the lecturer. So I'll move on to the next point, which is the tips to help one to succeed while doing online exams. Because we're used to conventional methods, therefore it becomes a challenge for those who are experiencing these online exams for the first time. But for you to be able to reduce these challenges and succeed at the online exam, the following steps are the ones you should take. The first one is to check your computer that it is functioning well. It meets the specifications that were given to you by your institution. If it needs a certain model, if it needs a certain mic, a camera, all this should be in order. The second point is to find a good spot to take the exam. Look for a secure place that is quiet and will not get any distractions. This will enable you to concentrate on the exam. The third point is understand the test guidelines. These are usually given when the institution sends out the emails probably over the exams and all the timings and everything. Understand all the test guidelines that have been given there. You can, in case you do not understand, go ahead before and inquire from the lecturers so that you can be able to, once the exam is about to start, you know everything that is required of you. Therefore, you won't waste any time trying to contact the teacher, just dive into starting your exam. The fourth point is always have a mock or a practice exam. This will enable the students to know what to do should any issue arise, or how to just go about the whole exam. The second last point is practice good time management and keep track of time. The online exam system usually has a time tracker, of which each student, once they click on the start icon, they'll be able to see the time and how much is left. So just practice good time management, go through your questions and manage your time well so that by the time the exam is ending, you'll have done all the questions. And the final point is navigate and keep track of the time, which is still the same as almost similar to time management, in that when you navigate, you can go through all the questions and then start with the questions that you feel you understand better. On this, you will save a lot of time.
Yeah, so good morning, everyone, again. So this is George on this other side. So I will be taking your questions and answers. So I've seen a number of questions on the chat. So one of the first questions is that what if a student uses two computers, one for the exam and the other for searching the internet for solutions? Yeah, so we agree that students, especially those who are hell-bent on cheating, will have innovative ways of uh, trying to navigate the system just to get the best marks. So what we could do is that we have a technology, AI or facial recognition, whereby immediately you turn on you start your exams. Then for the examination to start, then you have to tilt your camera, let's say 30 degrees to the left and 30 degrees to the right, so that the solution will scan your surrounding and make sure that there is nothing else but you and your computer in front of you, such that if anything else is noted, then a flag will be raised, and then your support team, who will be on the back end, will be able to flag it, and then they will be able to check or even communicate that the students should not be able to do that. And then Sami Mutisa says, address the issue of objectivity in marking. So marking, I did, perhaps I didn't get that clearly, but then you are able to grade. For example, if you have essay questions, you are able to read and grade just like we normally mark and grade the paper examinations, and then give objective marks, and then just post it on the platform. And then after all the results and grades have been posted, they can be able to be exported and put into your normal ERP system, where you normally have the grades, results, transcripts, and all the academic records. And then James Kind again said that you mentioned that during the examinations we have lockdown browsers, that the students cannot open other browsers using Google. But then what if the student is using a laptop for the exam and has their smartphone free for them to use? Yeah, so this is exactly what we are saying in the first incident. So it will scan, and then if you notice phone or any other thing, then you will flag them off, and then they will not be able to do the examination. And then another person says, how do you score essay type of exams and practical exams? So essay kind of exams are the easiest to score, because once they are submitted, you will get that you will get the submission in form of PDF document. You're able to preview it, or you're able to just download and read the whole of it, just like if they submitted their assignments to the LMS in PDF documents or what. You'll go through it, you'll grade it objectively, and then post the marks according to that. Then for practical sessions, practical examinations, I believe maybe you are talking about the offline examination. So let's say if you had a lab session somewhere in the lab, and then that is done, so you want to grade that offline activity. So let's say if a student did an offline activity, perhaps in the lab or any other part, if you allow that to be uploaded, then if it's uploaded into the examination portal, then the teacher will just, or the examiner will just grade it the same way you will be graded the rest. Because if it is a video, then they will be able to check, analyze, and then give the right grades as they should be. And if it was done offline, then you'll mark it offline and then just import the grade onto the platform, and then it will then be sent to the university ERP system. And then how is the moderation of the online examinations done? Yeah, so facilitation of this exam, moderation, do you mean after the exam or before the exam? Maybe Samuel, you could comment down there, because moderation, I think that should be after the examination has been done. So your teams will now look at the results, and then from there, once they have exported it and they have their team, then they can do it offline. It can be done offline before it is finally submitted to for maybe the relevant authorities for approval, and then released to the students. So that can be done offline. And then Paul Katamba says, how do you use it in case essay questions? How will the assessments of the responses be done? So essays, like I said, up there are the easiest. You'll get that submission, the essay in form of PDF documents, and then you can read through it, just like we read all the other documents, and then you're able to objectively grade it. And then Anil says, as you said, ICT department can assist, but what in case there is many exams conducted at the same time and the number of students are more than 500? Moderation of the exam should not be done before the exam is placed on the platform. So like Anil, I agree with you. One of the challenges that online examination face is the number of concurrent users. So the more the numbers, the more the strain. So what I mean by that is that if, for example, you have 500 users, in a normal scenario, 500 users, if you had them in the 4 walls examination, the traditional examination lecture rooms, what you will have is a panic rate of around, let's say, 70 people out of 500. But then if you introduce the new systems, you will have an expanded panic rate. It could hit 100 or 120. So those are people who will be having maybe different challenges because it's online. It could be totally different from what you expected. It could be login issues. It could be internet challenges. It could be power outages. So this kind of panic will be higher. So the higher the numbers, the higher the number of concurrent users, the higher the number of such incidences. So it means that if you want to have very successful examinations, then you need to use you need to have less individuals working concurrently, so that your support team, the people who are in charge of the examinations, the ICT people and the facilitators, they're not strained such that they have a high number of queries at one given time, because the students will need a response rate of around 15 seconds. If you don't respond within 15 seconds, their panic level will be too much. And then, so you need to plan that, but you can have as many students as you wish, or as you want, but you need to plan for those. Then you asked what are the suggested tips to improve the process of online exams via Blackboard. So via Blackboard, see, we use mElimu, but then if you want us to check for you the tips to improve it via Blackboard, then we will be happy to check on that, and then we will revert you. So Mohammed, I will get in touch and show you how you can be able to improve with that. And then Robert Abungu says you use the word panic rate. Could you please explain? So panic rate, see, Robert, students, let's say students normally panic. You see, when we are not prepared for the exams, you don't know what the exams hold. And then sometimes you would find that the students, you know, they are that kind of panic. They are eager. They don't know whether they will fail or they will pass. So that kind of pressure is what I'm calling panic. So that kind of pressure is always in examinations. Most people, except the few who maybe believe in themselves. So that kind of pressure, imagine that kind of pressure in a sitting examination. You just have a cut for 40 minutes, 40 marks or 20 marks. You have that pressure. Then now imagine your students are going for an online examination, and then there is a power outage. They just hit start, it's 2 hours, they have been told 2 hours, they hit the start button, then there is a power blackout. They will be devastated. So that kind of happening, that's what we are calling panic. So that pressure should always be resolved, so that if they communicate, you need to respond within 5 to 15 seconds, so that they know that you're actually working on their thing. So you also need to have the best ways of responding to the panic. And then what are the experiences like from those already implementing the online exam? So for all the people who are attending, you could also give your experiences for those who have done the online examinations. But then for us, we have had experiences, good experiences with the institutions. So we have done a number of examinations. We have even supported one institution with a total of 15,000 students participating in exams. So I believe only those are the questions. So you could drop any other questions so that we will answer them as time goes by. So we will also answer this and then share with you members so that you are able to understand it more. So I will now ask Christine maybe to close, because this was her session. So Christine. Christine, are you there? So as you are still there, I can see a number of questions as well. So Dr. Martin Magu says, how big should be the host server since the video of all learners are being monitored by online respective cameras? So I would say for 1 hour exam being done by 100 users. So Dr. Martin, you could work with the cloud-based solution, unlimited hosting, so that you don't get into scenarios whereby you are able to the server can be full and then it stops working. That could be devastating. So just go for cloud solutions whereby you are able to not to worry about the space, because there is a lot of activity, and like Anil was saying, the concurrent users, you need to just keep track of that. Then Nila Chien says, I have given assignments before through LMS. Most essays can be done offline. Then they upload it. Can exams be given in the same way? Yeah, so exams can be given in the same way if you wish, but then the integrity of those exams can be at question. So if you want it to be live, then you have to use a live system. But then if you want them to be done offline, if there are application questions whereby even if you give them a whole day to do it in the library, they will not be able to do it, that's perfect. You can give them, they can do it online, offline, and then they will be able to submit for you are ready. And then Anonymous says, thank you so much for the good presentation. Now my question is that what is the future trends faced by this program while transmitted to adaptive e-learning systems, such as the student will not see or hear? How do we resolve this? Okay, so he's asking about the students who don't see or don't hear. So for the blind and visually impaired, we have a solution for them, especially on the LMS, which can be provided for them to have. So we'll just integrate and then have them use those kind of features. So for them, their system normally it's kind of different, and sometimes cannot be used by the normal people, because normal people have certain distractions. For example, in the online examination system for the blind and visually impaired, the system the system will read for them the text, and then they will repeat the text the same way it says. So they have they are very intuitive. They have very good listening skills. For us, we might have distractions here and there. We would be told to say thank you very much. I've appreciated. then we would say, for us, we might say thanks very much. We have appreciated. It's the wrong thing. We say thank you very much. So that kind of thing is already there. Then Dr. Martin again says, do we have a person monitoring the learners' activities during the examination progress? Yes, we do have the support team and the live support team from the ICT side, and the examiners will be checking from the back end to see live activities of what is happening, and they will also be seeing the red flags, and then they will be resolving those as soon as it is possible. Then it says, does it disconnect the learner, or is it allowed to complete the exam later for questions to follow? So you could see, we've seen that there is a massive malpractice. You can be able to disconnect the student and have their assignment submitted and disallow them, or you could let them do the examination, come review, grade, and give a 0, because 0 is also a part of a grade. Then Professor Rebwa also says, how much time should be given to the students to settle before the starting of writing the examination? So you, Professor Cabrera, this is now your prerogative. The exams will start, let's say you say the exams will start at 10. So the students know that they need to start at 10. So they should come earlier. So you will just give a communication that you need to come earlier, and then do settle for an hour, make sure that everything is fine, then before you will be allowed to start your examination. Then it's Newton says, how do we deal with the examination standardization issues offered online, Dr. Mkolwe? So yeah, he's asking Dr. Mkolwe. So Dr. Mkolwe, help us with that. I believe this is more of a policy and all that. So that one we will skip it for now. So I believe I've answered all the questions. So any other questions that you need, you could reach us through the emails that were shared. Ask us at mElimu.com, and then you can also, if you want to reach us out on the phone number that is below there, then you could reach me on that line, or even the phone number. So we'll be able to, unless there is any other questions, then I think we should be able to close. So let me check one more time if we have other questions. So these ones are all answered. Standardization. So these ones are answered. And then the last ones. So I've seen some 4 questions. So Anelda here says, how will we assist students who do not are good in typing and writing skills? So he's asking about basically how do we support students who are not good in typing? And this is a very good question which we have been asked several times. See, if I am a very good student and a student who knows how to write very well, normally I finish my papers earlier and I ask for extra booklets. If I don't, for some reason I don't know how to type, then if I'm given an online examination, I will not do well because of my typing skills. So our advice for the institution is that you need to work on the design of your examinations. First of all, you need to check whether the design as it was during the sorry, I think I had an internet. So you need to ask yourself the design. Should it be the same as what we have online? Should the design of your examination be the same as the online examination? My answer is no. Why? Because if you had an essay question with five questions, and then each question had 20 marks, so these are essays. If I'm not, I don't know how to type fast, then I've failed automatically. So you need to change on that design. You could break the questions so that you have less typing and more of let's say multiple choice, short answer questions, true, false, all those kinds of questions, such that you balance. So you could have two essay type of questions, then the rest you can see how to play around with it, so that it's beneficial for everybody, those who know how to type and those who don't know how to type. And then Dr. Martin again asks the user's activity. This one I had already answered. And then, what do you advise? Yeah, so I think Anil has answered himself. So Sarah Mwangi says, exams for 6 are usually given in Braille. How will Braille be accessed online? So, so we have a different technology apart from Braille, Sarah. So maybe we could have a discussion separately, so that we will get in touch and discuss separately, so that we are able to understand more how you want it done and how we always do it, so that we can get advice from each other and move it forward. So I believe all the questions are answered. So the ones we will give our written answers and then share them with everybody else, and then we can move it from there. So if there is no any other verbal question, then I think the session is as good as over. So my colleague is telling me there is one more question. So he's saying, okay, so the ones we've not answered, we will answer on email. So thank you very much for participating. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.